Welcome to a new video. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. The first one is called, "You Want a Doctor's Note?" I work at a place where I handle food and make drinks. This story begins last night when I thought I was suffering from severe allergies. I'm rubbing my eyes and going about my normal business for a closing shift. The store closes, all is well, and I come home to get some much needed rest. Flash forward to 6:30 this morning and a very sleepless night. This girl has swollen eyes and a runny nose. Nothing is well here, and the boyfriend mentions pink eye to me. I've never in my life had a pink eye before, so I don't even know for sure. I shoot my professor an email saying I'm missing class in favor of hitting the doctor's office up when I wake. 10 rolls around and I am still plagued with the swollen eyes and impossible congestion. I text my assistant manager on the way to the doctor's, saying I might have pink eye and that she should find coverage for tomorrow because most contagious quarantines are 24 hours. In the time I'm waiting for her answer, pink eye is confirmed and I am prescribed medicine. Whilst waiting for the medicine, my assistant manager calls me and asks why she needs coverage for the shift tomorrow. Did he say not to come into work? Pink eye isn't highly contagious if you don't touch anything. Well, we handle food, and yes, it is highly contagious and I don't want to get the rest of our staff sick. I tell her this as kindly as possible, and when she still refuses, I pull out the documented fever. Still, a no-go, and she asks for a doctor's note. Fine then. I'll get you a doctor's note. After grabbing this medicine, I head back to the doctor's office and ask for a note. I explain that my assistant manager needs this note and proceed to explain that I handle food and beverages in my line of work and come into contact with many people. She immediately makes this confused face like, "Why would you even need a note for this then? Just excuse it?" "Yes, me too, lady. Me too." I then ask her how many days I need for recovery, and she asks, "Do you want to go back Sunday or Monday?" I said frick it, I was initially going to miss one day of work to get over the contagious period, but the assistant manager just wanted the doctor's note. I told her Monday. She signed the form and handed over with a lovely smile. I thanked her and sent it to my assistant manager, who now has to find coverage for 2 of my shifts instead of just the one. Don't ask me to come into work with some sickness I can pass on to other peers or customers. I will fight back. The next story is called, "I Know I Am Getting Fired." This was about 20 years ago. I was working as an hourly manager at a popular American fast food place. The franchise, not corporate. I had been there for several years and had accrued some vacation time. I requested a week off, months in advance, to go on a hunting trip a few states away with my dad. The vacation time was approved by the general manager of the store and I booked the trip, non-refundable. A week before I was due to go on vacation, the head office decided to replace my general manager with one from a different store they owned. The new general manager decided he had to assert his dominance by rejecting my vacation time and stated that he didn't have enough managers available to cover the shifts. I argued that the trip was already booked. But he wasn't hearing any of it. I liked my job and didn't want to leave. But there was no way I was going to miss this trip. I tried everything to get him to approve the time off. But he scheduled me to work that week anyway. He said if I didn't work, I'd be fired. I told him I was going. I liked my co-workers and didn't want to screw anyone over by having shifts that needed to be covered, so I got them all covered a few days before I left. The general manager wouldn't approve them working for me and still said I had to work. I was working the day before the trip, a Friday, and he knew I was leaving the next day, no matter what. Part of my job was to schedule the crew's shifts. It typically needed to be done by Sunday for the following week, but on this day he said I had to have it done that day. This was about 15 years after the most popular girl's name was Ashley and the most popular boy's name was Michael. That means we had 8 Ashleys and 6 Michaels working there. It was normally troubling to keep from having more than 2 of them there at the same time because of labor laws. That Saturday, from 11 to 2, the lunch rush, on the general manager's shift, every single one of them was scheduled at the same time. I can only imagine the chaos when he wanted one of them to do something. When I picked up my last check, another shift manager confirmed that it was as glorious as I had imagined. The third story is called, "No Extracurricular." In high school, I went to a private parochial school that I paid for myself, not my parents. I choose this school over the local public school because of the quality of education and the quality and variety of extracurricular activities, sports, band, clubs and such. I was paying for the whole experience, my choice. In my junior year, I came down with some kind of chronic nastiness, mononucleosis or something like that early in the year, causing me to miss many days of school. I made up the work while home, did not miss any of the homework, kept my grades up and such. But I still was not present at school. The school had a policy that if you were marked as absent a certain number of days during the school year, you would no longer be allowed to attend or participate in extracurriculars. There was no allowance regarding grades, just the count of days absent. My earlier illness had put me right on the cusp of reaching that magic number. I think I had been out 13 of the 15 days allowable. If I missed just a few more days, I would be done for the rest of the school year, and I was really looking forward to pole vaulting during track season in the spring. What the school counted as an absence was if you were not present during roll call in the first period. If you were present for roll call, you were not counted as absent. In late February, I came down with some version of the flu, as students sometimes do. Knowing how close I was to being disallowed to participate, I went to school anyway. I spent the day miserable. Fever, coughing, sometimes coughing stuff up. I had no business being in public, yet there I was. A teacher for a late morning class made me go to the school nurse, who promptly told me to go home. When I pleaded that if I missed any more days, I would miss out on track season, she mentioned that going home early was not the same as absent, so it wouldn't count against me. That cued my malicious compliance. I went home as directed. The next day, I didn't feel any better. In fact, arguably worse, but had a plan. So long as I made to through roll call, I could protect those precious absences. So that's what I did. I went to the homeroom, said, "Here," when my name was called, then muddled through until I couldn't function anymore or a teacher sent me to the nurse. The next day, the same thing, except just after roll call the assistant principal came into the room to get me, chewing me out as he escorted me at a bit of a distance to the nurse's office to send me home again. When he asked me why I kept coming back, possibly infecting other people, I explained the policy on absences versus going home early. He was mad as hell, exclaiming things like, "We'll see about that," and how it was so selfish of me to come in when I was so contagious and stuff. I presented my argument that it was their policy that set this up. I was just doing my best to not get thrown out of extracurriculars when my grades were in fact well above average. I threw up in the hallway shortly before we reached the nurse's office. This did nothing to improve his disposition. I returned to school the next day, made roll call, went straight to the nurse's office and got sent home again. Thereafter, I was actually well enough to both make it to school and function in my capacity as a student. My absences never went over 13 that school year, so I got to participate in all the activities I choose. I never heard back from the assistant principal, so I guess his threat of "we'll see about that" was all bark and no bite. The last story is called, "You Are Security?" I used to work as a crew member for gigs, sometimes at Wembley Stadium, London, and one particular time in 1999, we're helping the set designer with his massive set and they keep us on for a few gigs. Most load-ins for a gig take a few days, but because of the roof on Wembley and the fact that there was a lot of pyro on this set, meant that it would take a week. We all have our passes, getting everything ready for the load-in, ramps all set, and we get told the trucks are going to be delayed but to not set up the barriers again for where they are parked. We get to lie around, chatting to each while others are waiting for the trucks. We say hello to the security guys and bring them cups of tea every now and then. We're all cool and just enjoying doing nothing and getting paid for it. Then there is a shift change on the security and this security guy pulls up in his tricked out car. "Who are you lot?" he asks, and a forest of passers appear and are waved. "What are you doing waiting here?" I'm supervising the very hard work of dossing, so I say, "All right mate, we're just waiting for the load in but the trucks are delayed." He then replies, "I'm not your mate, I'm here to look after the security for backstage." Like the backstage for a gig at Wembley only needs him to make it secure. We're going to be here for a week, so I try to build bridges and the conversation goes like this. "Are you going to park there?" "Yes, I'm security." "I wouldn't park there." "It's parking in it, so I'm parking there." "Talk to production if there's a problem." "No worries, mate." He stomps off to protect the band as he probably sees it. The trucks then start arriving and as I'm supervising, I get to park them up. They arrive in eights, as there are 38 containers coming, and they drop the trailer and the cab goes off to get another. I'm asked about the car parked in the middle of the parking area for the trailers and I have to tell them that he's security and I've been told to take it up with production if there's an issue. An accord is reached without a word being said and the trailers are distributed by how they are loaded in, but the first four all seem to be parked around the guy's car. We get all the trailers set and start the night-long load in. A lot of it is just emptying the trailers and putting the flight cases where they need to be. So it gets to 6 in the morning and we've been going hard since 11 the night before. And then the security guy appears and asks, "Where's my car?" "It's where you parked it, mate." "How am I going to get it?" "Best speak to production, as we're not allowed to move them trailers now until next Monday." His bottom lip actually quivered and he walked off. We then got to see him picked up by his missus, her giving him a talk time for getting her up at this time. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.